Hello everyone, I'm Brian from Watch Complications and welcome to another entry in my low-cost watches series. And before anything else, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, we're going to go through the opening, the unpackaging, and review of the Tonnier Day-Date quartz watch on a light coffee strap. So here's what happened. I go on Amazon to get a whiteboard. Why? Because whiteboards are necessary for life. You can see it in the corner. I got to keep things organized, and I wanted one just for keeping all my watch projects organized. Anyway, so I go on Amazon to get a whiteboard, and as always, I click on today's deals, and there's a lightning deal on a particular watch. It's originally $23.99, but it was $6.15 off, so for $17.84, I got a nice low-cost quartz watch. As always, one of two things is going to happen. Either I'll like it, I'll wear it some, do some longevity testing, or the other option is use it for parts. Because as a whole, it costs less than it would be for me to order parts individually. I can always reuse the dial, the movement, the hands, and all those sorts of things. So it's worth the money. And people love low-cost watches. You can wear it for a while, and then when it starts to wear out or you don't like it anymore, you can scrap it and get a new one. So here we go. Let's start with the expectations. Alright, so what we should be seeing when we open this package is this particular watch. I'm pronouncing this Tonnier, and perhaps maybe you could pronounce it Tonnier. Maybe if your name's Tony and you're looking for a watch that's tonier than you are. Just a joke. But I got the white hands. You can see the dial is all black with the tipped hands. There's the day date. Again, it's black printing on white wheels. And I can reuse these things like the dial, the hands, the case. I'm expecting that the plating on this case would wear off after some time, but there are other versions. There's a red, although I don't know why they didn't tip the hands red like they did on the others. Perhaps they are and they just didn't show it that way. I'm not sure. You never know with these brands. There's a blue one and there's the white one, but on a darker strap, deep coffee. You can see I got the light coffee strap. So this is what we should be seeing whenever we open up the package. Alright, so here's the package. I haven't opened it yet. One thing to note as we're going through this video, you might notice on my wrist today I'm wearing my Timex Weekender Chronograph, which I'm still sort of longevity testing. It's doing okay. One thing I'm finding difficult about it is that the hand color being sort of a darker brown against the lighter brown, it is sort of hard to catch the hands easily in most light, which is something I'm not particularly keen on this particular watch. There's some other good things about it that I like, but you can catch that review video if you want. It was published not too long ago. Alright, so let's cut this open. Okay. Again, I don't know what to expect with the packaging. You never know with these watches. Looks somewhat like common packaging for these brands. You know, these watches usually it's the same watch from the same Chinese factory and they'll just put a different name on it. So this watch exists with this particular brand name on it, but that same watch will be sold, you know, in a few months with a different brand name on it or some other company that wants to sell it. They're just sort of just the way they work. So package looks fairly standard. Let's see what we've got inside of here. A nice thank you note. And what else is inside of this? So comes with customer information, the QR codes for Facebook. Please scan the QR code too and log into your Facebook account. Click join to enjoy more discounts. So how to leave a review, customer satisfaction, finding the manual, sort of things. So the manual is just printed on a piece of paper. Let's see what they say about it. Instruction of watch with 3 hands, day, date. So it shows the operation of it. So sort of standard setting for this type of movement. How to set time, how to set date. This is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if I've seen this before. When the battery nears its end, the second hand moves at 2-second intervals instead of the normal one. It's got a depletion warning function. That's an interesting function. I'm not sure I've noticed that on other watches before. So I'm going to have to look more into that and see if I happen to have anything else that does that. It's different depending on the caliber. I'll have to crack this open and look at it closer and see. if that's actually the way it works or not. That'd be cool if it does. All right, so I put that stuff back in there, and then let's look at this. It's looking correct so far. You know what? Now that I think about it, I didn't even look at what the size of this watch was. That's kind of heavier than I'd expect. So it's wrapped in plastic. Put it out here. Looks like I got the correct model. So this is just a regular foam box. It's got its sticker on the front, which is good. Looks nice, actually. So looking at the case really quick, this is highly polished as a case. Again, this is one of those things that you just never know what to expect when you're ordering one of these like low-cost watches like this. So this is a highly polished surface, and in the picture it shows it as being matte, which is of course a very big difference, because I would much prefer this in matte to match the dial surface. And so that's one thing that's different than what I was expecting. Now the dial, it's black. Don't let the fact that it's under crystal and that we're on a video camera confuse you. It doesn't look gray, okay? So it is black. And the hands are tipped in white. The hands actually look nice. I like how the hands are done. And I can zoom in and give you a little bit of a closer look. This. So I do like the hands. The finish on the dial is actually a little bit smoother than what the picture on the website would show. It showed, again, a little bit more sort of a granular surface on top, but it's actually a lot smoother. One thing that's nice about this, and is an issue with some of these low-cost watches, is that if it has a date or a day date like this, a lot of times the movement can be just a little bit out of whack, but this one is spot on in terms of the alignment of the wheels with the window. Again, really highly polished. There's no brand marking on the crown. Sometimes you get that, sometimes you don't. So this has just a stainless steel back, Japanese quartz movement, TO 1288. The logo looks a lot like the Tesla logo. Not quite, it's a little bit different, but close. The strap's okay. I like the interior here better than the exterior, both in the way it feels and looks. I'm not a huge fan of this particular collar, but it's the one that sort of looked the best of the choices. You can see that the brand name is on the buckle. And I wonder how long this plating will last. I was hoping for the matte finish, but it's polished, which means I would probably wear it less. If I was going to actually wear this watch much, I would like a matte finish a lot better. But you know what? I might change my mind. We'll see. I also did measure the weight, and it is about 52 grams. So it's not very heavy, which again, with a quartz movement, sort of lower cost, that's sort of to be expected. It is a little bit lighter weight, so 52 grams about. All right, so they had the measurements for this, the height and the diameter and stuff in centimeters on the website. So I want to just check this with the calipers just to see what the diameter is. So it is 42 millimeter. The crystal is flat, as you can see. So let's take a height measurement. Just about 11 millimeter. So pretty common dimensions for this type of a watch: 42 millimeter diameter and 11 millimeter height. The lug to lug, let's just see what we've got there, which is probably going to be in the mid 50s. So 51 is about the lug to lug. All right, so those are the dimensions. All right, so let's see how the setting works on this, and I'll try to keep the reflections to a minimum. It is just going to be a regular old mineral crystal, and I'm trying to keep the reflections, again, at a minimum. So let's pull this out, and if I turn clockwise, then I should get the day. That's interesting. I hadn't seen this on one of these low-cost watches I've ordered before. So it's a Japanese movement, but obviously manufactured in China, and that's Chinese. So it's got Chinese as the second language, so English and Chinese. Sometimes you get other languages like French or Swiss on other types of movements. That's the first time I've gotten one of these that had Chinese on it. And let's see. If Sunday's in red. Haha, it is. Again, something that can vary from movement to movement depending on what exact caliber it is. But here we've got English and Chinese and Sunday's in red, which is nice. Okay, so today is Monday. And now if I turn it counterclockwise, it should get movement of the day, or the date. And so today's the 4th. All right, pulling out second position, I should get the hands. So everything's working fine. Feels okay in terms of the setting. Crown does feel, a little bit, cheaper, low cost, which is sort of to be expected. All right, so I'm going to put this on the wrist and kind of see how it feels and bend this strap around a little bit. All right, so I've got it on the wrist, and it feels as it should for about a $20 or so watch. I again really don't like this collar strap. It would look better on either some sort of a black strap, maybe with white stitching, would probably be the best look for this particular watch. So things that I don't like upon first impression: collar of the strap, which I knew what I was getting, but it certainly would look better with a different color strap. The case I wish was matte, which would go along with what the expectation was based on the description, the picture on Amazon, but it is polished. The dial actually looks a bit higher quality than I thought it would. What they've done is those are just regular steel colored markers that they've laid down, and then whenever they've painted over the surface, they've done so after the markers were applied to give them all that same color. Those wouldn't have been individually done. My guess is they would have painted it whenever they actually did the dial as a whole. At least it kind of looks that way. The logo's nicely printed, nice and crisp. I like the white tips on the hands. The hands are also polished, so they catch light a particular way as well. This would be a mineral crystal, as I mentioned, in Japanese quartz. I'm not specifically sure on the caliber until I open it up, but this is a first look at the Tonnier day date, which again, a simple low-cost day date watch. This gets the job done. It'll be interesting to see, kind of just as I'm wearing it around a little bit, in terms of telling the time. Having the white tips on the hands will be nice, but again, the markers are black to match the dial. They do stand out to a certain extent because they're raised, but they're still a little bit hard to see at times. So, all right, so that's a look at this low-cost day date watch. Is that worth $17? I'd say yeah, just because it's an okay design and it's got the day date, which is a nice combination to have in a simple watch. And so perhaps if you come across it in a deal, I don't know that I would pay $25 for it, probably not. But if you can get $5 to $10 off of it, then it becomes a little bit more of an interesting proposition. All right, so thanks for joining me today in this look at another low-cost watch. I'll probably wear it around for the rest of today just to kind of see how things go. What I expect will happen with this particular watch is that I will probably eventually take it apart and use the movement and the hands and probably repurpose the dial for some other projects. It does look all right, and I do really like the face, but I think what makes it or breaks it for me on this particular watch is the case. If the case was matte, it would look 10 times better and really go well with the dial, and even the strap a little bit better. But because it is this highly polished black surface, it just gives off that little bit of a cheaper look. And just to kind of show you for point of comparison, you can always look at the Timex video as well, is one of the things that makes this Timex look a little bit better is the fact that it has the matte finish, which this has the black polish. So this looks a lot better and higher quality. And it doesn't pick up the fingerprints and the smudges and the marks as easily, which again would have looked better with this particular watch, I think, on the whole. So, I'm Brian again. This is Watch Complications. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram at watch_complications, and also check out my blog at watchcomplications.com. And be watching for more videos in this series and others on the channel.